Hello guys, this is Prime Concept. In this video, I'll be explaining the sign convention that is used in solving problems under Coulomb's law in vector form, and we'll be taking our very first example in this video. Now, you know that charges are usually either positive or negative. Now, by virtue of us having positive and negative charge, we can have two kinds of forces that will be experienced. Now, one kind of force that can be experienced by charges is what you call attractive force. Another kind of force that can be experienced is what you call repulsive force. So these are the two kinds of forces we would always have, either attractive or repulsive. Now, what is the sign convention? We'll be using it to solve problems under this. The sign convention simply says for attractive forces are always attractive force to the source. So attractive forces would always be attracted to the source, right? Repulsive force would always be repelled away from source. So please take note of this. This is a very important sign convention. When you have attractive force, it would always be attracted to the source. It will point to the source. When you have repulsive force, it will point away from the source. Now say we have Q1 and you have Q2. I'm sure you know that Coulomb's force is always a force that has its point of application in the line that joins the two charges, that connects them. So we'll have a line connecting these two charges. Now, if this is positive, and the question says, find the force that will be experienced, or find the force that Q1 would exert on Q2. Find the force that Q1 would exert on Q2. The person that exerts the force is always the source. So this is going to be our source. The one exerting is your source. Then automatically this one that receives becomes our what? Test. Now, if you check, this is a positive and this is also positive. Positive would give rise to what? A repulsive force. And from what we earlier mentioned, repulsive force would always point away from the source. So since this is your source, the force of repulsion would be away from the source. And you also know, this is our F12, and we also know that in our Cartesian coordinate, anything pointing forward is positive, anything pointing backward is what? Negative. So what it simply means in this case is that my force F12 is a positive force, right? Now I'll give another one. Say this is Q1 and this is Q2. Say this is our source and this is our test. This is positive and this is negative. Now say we have this. We want to find the force that Q1 would exert on Q2. Now if you check, Q1 is positive and Q2 is negative. So the kind of force you would have, positive, negative, would be an attractive force. And attractive forces are always pointing to the what? To the source. So since this is your source, you would have F12 pointing to your source, right? Now, you know that anything pointing backwards is going where? To the negative. So it means that F12 is going to be what kind of force? A negative force, right? Let me give one more. So say I have, this is Q1 and this is Q2. I have this. This is negative. This is positive. Now the question says, find the force that Q2 would exert on Q1. The force that Q2 would exert on Q1. So in this case, Q2 that is exerting the force becomes your what now? Your source. Very correct. And Q1 that is receiving the force becomes our what now? Test. So your test or your source can be given based on the information given in the question. So your source is not necessarily always Q1. So based on the information you have. Now, if you notice, this is positive and this is negative. So the kind of force you would have here is a force of attraction. And remember, attractive force would always be towards the what? The source. So since this is your source, it's going to point towards the source. So this is going to be our F21. Right? Now if you notice, F21 is pointing to the positive side. So it means that this is a positive force, and so on. So I believe this concept is very clear. So the next thing I want to do is to apply